Hi, in this video, I'm going to take you through the steps on how to easily build sensitivity analysis into your own financial model using the sensitivity template that I'm going to put the link down below in the description of this video. So once you download the sensitivity template using VBA template, within there you will see a sheet called a guide. I also put the steps that you need to take to insert this worksheet into your own model, and also copy the code here within the spreadsheet. I also have another template, a basically manual, PDF manual that you can download. I also explain the steps that you need to take here in this PDF. And also in this video, we're going to do it together. So you can use these 3 ways to know how to insert the template into your own financial model. I just want to say here as well that you don't need to have any knowledge of VBA. So even if you have never stepped into the VBA editor in Excel, we will do it together here. It's just to copy and paste the code. So let's get into the steps now. So we need to do some checks. The first thing that we want to check is that the financial model that we have, our own financial model, we want to make sure that this model enables us to save macros in it. So to check that, we need to come, for example, I'm working on a solar model. You see that the extension is XLSP, meaning that it is macro enabled, or if it is XLSM, it means that it is macro enabled. If it is only XLS, meaning that you cannot save macros in it. In order to save as, you open your file, for example, my solar model, and you save it as. So once you save it as, you will see this new window pop-up menu. And in this section here, you can just choose how you want to save it. For either of these 2 will work. So either you choose the first one or the second one, and you just select save. The next thing that we want to check before we get into the actual step is to make sure that we have the developer tab here in our Excel. So I deactivated now just to show you how to activate it in Mac. So the developer tab is the tab that enables us to view macros, record macros, and see all the options and buttons there. So you come to Excel, under Preferences, you go to the ribbon and toolbars. Here under the main tabs, you will see the developer. You just check it and save it. So now you will see that you have the developer tab sitting in your Excel, and we will see how we will use it in the next steps. For Windows, what we need to do, I have put the steps here in the manual. So we did that together now with Mac. For Windows, you just need to find the Customize ribbon under Options under the File tab. And then once you're there, you will see that you just need to come under the main tabs here and then select the developer and say OK. And in Windows, you will have the developer tab sitting in your Excel. The next thing I want to do is to insert the sense sheet within the financial model, in my case the solar model. So I want to make sure that I have both files open. So I have both files now open. I come to the sense sheet within the sensitivity tab, right click on the sense, and then select move or copy. In this window, I'm going to check the create a copy checkbox. This is not to move the sheet and just to copy it to the destination file. In this drop-down menu, I will come and select the solar model, which is my destination file. Once I select it, I will see all the tabs showing up here. So I can select, for example, I want to put it before the input C sheet. I select input C and I press OK. Now if I come to my solar model, I will see that the sense sheet now is within the solar model. And we will go to the next step. The next step is to copy the VBA code into our own model. So if you're using the guide sheet to follow the steps, you can come to the guide, and in the step number 3, you will see this box, this green box. You come and click somewhere within the box and select all the text here and copy it. If you're using the manual, you can go to the manual and it should be on page 6. Yes, so on page 6 you have the code also. You can copy the code. Now I come to the financial model, to the solar model. In the developer tab, I select Visual Basic. When I select Visual Basic, I will see that in the VBA Project window, I see the files that are open. So I have the sensitivity template open and I have the solar model. I will come and click on the solar model where I see the name of my file and right click and insert a new module. Once I do that, you see these are the modules, these are the codes that are within my model. A new module will open. I just need to come here and paste the code here. So now the code is pasted and is within the modules in my financial model. Now it is called module 1. I can give it a name. For example, I can call it Automate Sensitivity. So now it will come under this name here. The last thing I want to mention before we leave this window is this line here, call X. So we said that sometimes you need to call another macro while running the sensitivities. So here in this code, you see the lines that are green, they start with a quotation mark. These are text, so it will not be running while the code is running. They will be just as text, as a guide. So in order to activate this, I need to delete the quotation mark. But I need to put the name of the macro that I want to run simultaneously while running the sensitivities. For example, among these codes that I have here, I have one that is called tariff setting. It's just a simple goal seek that you need to, that is just changing sensitivity, the tariff, to come up with the target equity return. So the name of this macro is tariff setting, okay? So I want to call this one while running. Then my macro. So instead of X, I'm going to put the name of that macro. And that's it. So now you will see that this is now active. So while running the sensitivities, this one will be also called as the last step within this code. So our work is done in the VBA. We can close it and come back and follow the steps. Now we come to the sense sheet within our financial model and we start on top. We need to define the input parameters of the sensitivity analysis. In my case, for the solar model, just for the example, I'm going to just use two inputs. One is the CapEx, the other one is OPEX that I want to change. And I want to see the impact on the main metrics. For my case, the solar model is a project finance transaction. So one of the important metrics is the equity IRR. And the other one is, for the lenders, is the minimum debt service coverage ratio to see the bankability of the project. So I want to change these parameters and see the impact on this. I have to define the magnitude here in the next column. So I want to, for example, change the CapEx, increase it by 10%. I want to increase OPEX by 20%. And I can have a combined case of CapEx up by 10% and OPEX up by 20%. Okay, so that one also I can have a case like this. So I'm going to test it, and once I've done that, this will show up across the template. You will see that now they are listed here. In the next step, what we need to do is to define these magnitudes here in this table and link these input parameters to our financial model. Okay, let's do it. So for example, here in this column, this is the scenario where I want to increase CapEx by 10%. So this is my CapEx. I want to increase CapEx by 10%. So you see, now if I use the switch and I switch to CapEx up by 10%, these are the ones that will link to the model. So CapEx will be up by 10%, OPEX up by 20%. So I come and I change this parameter to 20%. And in the combo case, I put 10 here and 20 here. So for example, let's switch to this one. Now you see that these parameters will be active, and what we need to do in the next step is to link them to our financial model. For example, in my case, for the case of the solar model, I know I have a sheet dedicated to CapEx. So somewhere here, I have a line where I calculate CapEx, and it's going to be linked throughout the model. So I come here and I will bring this sensitivity parameter. Okay, I dedicated column F to units, so I'm going to put the unit here. It's a percentage, and the percentage is 10% in this scenario. So one of the lines here, so I will just say 1 plus that, okay, and I will copy it across. Okay, the other line is the other cost. This is also CapEx. I will also do the same thing, link it 1 plus the sensitivity parameter and copy it across. Okay, so now I have these, both of these are linked, and in the base case, so if I come back and I put my switch so to the base case, actually I can export it to show you. Let's copy it just for the sake of example to this. So now on the base case, this parameter is 0. I have 34 and 3 million. So the total CapEx without development is 37.6 million. If I choose CapEx up by 10%, now I will see that this will go up to 41 million. So the link is established. So once I switch in between these scenarios, I will have the impact on my CapEx. I will do the same thing for OpEx, but I will do it offline. When we come back, we have the inputs linked to the model. Okay, and now the inputs are linked to the model. The next thing we want to do is to bring the outputs here. In this section, in this table here, you see that we have defined two outputs. One was equity IRR, one was the minimum debt service coverage ratio. So I need to go and link it, these cells here, I need to link it to the model. So for example, in most of my model, I have a sheet I call project summary, or I call dashboard, where I link all the main inputs and outputs and charts. So most probably I can find these outputs somewhere here. So I have the equity IRR. I will go and find wherever it is situated in my model. In my case, it's in the project summary. I will go and find it, and here it is. So I will just link it. Okay, and I can change the format and make it a percentage. The other one is the minimum debt service coverage ratio. I should have it here. I have backward looking, forward looking. I would just take the periodic one in this case. And it's okay. So I have done it. So these are my output variables that are linked. The last thing I want to do is to activate this button, you see, to click the sensitivities. So what you need to do is to come to this button, you see right click on it, and then you see this option of assign macro. You select that one, and in this new window, you will see all the macros that are within this sheet. We want to call, remember we call it automate sensitivity table. We want to select this one and press OK. Okay, and now if I click on this button, this table should populate automatically. It might take some time, but let's try it. Okay, as you can see, this switch is changing to 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have some spare ones here. So the spare ones, because they are 0, they will be the same as the base case. But you can see now, we can see that the results are being populated. And once we go to the last one, it's gonna stop automatically. Okay, it is done. So we are done. This is completed. I can come and change the format here as well. Okay, so as you can see here in my base case, I had an equity IRR of 17% and a minimum debt service coverage of 1.49. If I increase CapEx by 10%, my equity IRR should go down. That's something that I expect even before running it. But the magnitude, the sensitivity will tell me that it's going to go down from 17% to 13%. if I bring the OPEX up by 20%, the impact on the IRR is going to be 15. So it's going to go down, but the impact is less than the capex. So these are all rationally, you see, this is a good way of testing the model as well, the model integrity, that all the links are well established, because the direction of the sensitivity, we know it beforehand, but the magnitude, that's something that we are interested. And a combined down case is something that the IRR will go down by 11%. So every time that we change things in the model, we need to come back and reactivate and press the button again to rerun the sensitivities. So we don't need to do it all the time, but if we modify the scenarios, or if we change anything in the model, we just need to click on this one and reactivate and update the sensitivity tables. Okay, I hope that you can find these templates and this video useful. If you have any comments, don't hesitate to comment on this video. And if you need anything else, let me know. Thank you. Bye.